servicing the fan clutch in your Mercedes. One of my pet peeves is that I see so many people dump their original Bear or Sox fan clutches for aftermarket clutches from, I don't know, ACM or other manufacturers that just make crappy fan clutches. And occasionally this does have to be done, but 9 times out of 10, you can save the original Mercedes clutches. And today we're going to do a video about how to refill the oil in your Sox or Bear fan clutch and give it a second life. And so, you know, saves you from buying a Chinese fan clutch and sometimes even a new clutch from Mercedes. So what I have in here, in my arms, my hands, is the fan clutch made by Fitchel & Sox from a 560 SEC. This clutch was used on the 1981 and later 380 SL, 500 SEL, SEC, etc., and all the 560 variants. A similar variant was used on M119 cars, and the service procedure also applies to the fan clutches that preceded it and were used concurrently with it on 103 engines, 603 and 602 engines, OM617 engines, M130 engines, M110 engines with the conventional fan clutch, not the high-speed spring-loaded clutch that was used in some European cars starting in 1981. And, you know, all the 115 and 114 chassis cars that had fan clutches. So this is a video that probably applies to you if you have a Mercedes that has a fan clutch. I think it even works all the way up to the OM606 fan clutch that was used to model year 1999. And so we're going to show you how to refill the oil in this fan clutch. So first of all, if you have a V8 car, you have to get this cover off, which pops off with these little tabs. You have to take the fan off to get to this. Next, what you're going to see is that there is a spring here, and this thermal spring is actually what holds the fan clutch lubricating pin in place. So I'm going to, right down here, I'm going to push this down. I'm going to slide it forward like this, slide forward so it can go out of this little escape hatch. And I'm going to take it off. And then there is a pin. See the pin? Now this pin, you don't want to lose the pin, by the way. Don't want to lose this either. Thomas, can you hand me that bottle? No, the bottle in the box. In the box is a bottle. Thanks. Try pouring oil into that hole with a cup. That would be difficult. You need a little tiny funnel. Now, what do I have in here? I have Super Lube 5000 CST silicone oil. If you live in a really hot climate like Florida, you maybe want your fan clutch to couple more aggressively. Now, why is this? Well, because silicone oil starts to flow better when it gets hot. And then number 2, that coupling speed is going to help keep your engine temperature down in high stress situations like traffic, etc. It may push your governor speed up a little bit to 3,200 RPM or 3,100 RPM or whatever, but I don't think that your fan clutch is going to fly off because it went 200 RPMs or 300 RPMs over its governed limit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pin out. Now, because silicone oil is messy and gross, I don't actually have a full bottle, but you're going to align it with the hole right here, like so. And you're going to take a pair of vice grips and vice grip the bottle to pressurize the fluid in it. And the fluid is going to run into the hole. And as it runs into the hole, by the way, you do not want to move this thing. It will make a huge mess. And by the way, there's still some silicone oil in here, so it's probably going to make a huge mess. But you want to pressurize it and force feed it in. Then put the pin back in. I just dropped the pin, but let's just pretend I put the pin back in. And rotate the fan upright a few times. Higher speed, the better.
Unknown caller.
the higher the speed, the better, to force air out. See the little air bubble of the hole so that the fan clutch oil goes down to the bottom. Now, is this fan clutch junk? No, not really, but it was a chronic underperformer. And sometimes you can't fix a fan clutch by doing this because the inside impeller is worn, or in this case, the bearing is worn. So you can't see it here. But if you grab the fan clutches, sometimes there'll be a bunch of play in the bearing. And if your play is more than, say, 1 millimeter, maybe it's time to consider a new fan clutch. Hang on while I bend over and grab this pin. Now, most fan clutches are going to take at least 3 ounces, but closer to 4 ounces or even 5 ounces of fluid, depending on how empty they are. If you get a new fan clutch from Mercedes, it's not a good idea it's not a bad idea to check this anyway, because Mercedes even underfills the fan clutches. I think that these fan clutches hold a little bit more oil than the factory prescribed. And because of shipping losses where they inadvertently get stored face down or with the pin down or whatever, guess what happens? All the oil leaks out. So to buffer or remediate the fan clutch against oil losses from shipping, you store it with the pin down. Now, the latest Mercedes Benz OM606 fan clutch has the pin welded in so that oil doesn't leak out. I thought that was pretty interesting. That means if I ever have to service one of these, I'm going to have to drill the pin out and get another pin, but whatever, you know. But on most of these, the reason they say store upright is because they don't want the oil leaking out. But storing upright means storing it with the pin at the top. And really, if you want to store a fan clutch where nothing leaks out, this is also good. What you don't want to do is this with the pin down or this with the pin face down. Here's how we put it back together. So this pin has to stay in its hole. We're going to slide this metal tab through here, push it down, and then it's going to lock in place on the closed end. And it really can't go anywhere because the pressure of the pin pushes it up, and because it's a spring-loaded tab. And if you have an OM617 or M110 engine or M130 engine, you don't have to worry about this. But, you know, I've seen a lot of situations where this lack of oil in the fan clutch made the cars overheat. And if your fan clutch is totally out of oil, your car's going to run hot. Case in point, my own mom's car. I got my mom an NOS SOX fan clutch for a 420 SEL. I didn't realize it until years later, but it had no oil in it. I pulled it out, filled it up with oil, no more overheating problems. AC works fine. Car doesn't overheat all the time. I mean, it just gets really stupid sometimes dealing with this crap, you know. There's a risky test with the V8 fan clutches where if you can grab the fan clutch while it's turning, it's bad. Well, it doesn't mean the clutch is bad. It just means it's out of fluid. Because it's like a torque converter. It's got to have fluid in it to work. And because silicone oil is such a thick, heavy fluid, there actually has to be enough of it. You can't have it half full. It only works well when you have the right amount of fluid in it. If you have half the volume of fluid, it just turns into sticky crap that slows everything down. But if you have the right amount of fluid, it becomes a damn good power coupling mechanism and actually spins the fan clutch really effectively. I've seen up to a 10-degree reduction in engine temperatures or more. I mean, I had a 280 SL that was running, it was a Euromarket 107 280 SL that was running 15 degrees hotter than it should. Instead of running 82, 83 degrees, it was running like 98, 99 degrees. And when you turn the air on, it would get even worse. All because no oil in fan clutch. So one day I'll make a meme that says blows engine because no oil in fan clutch. Ends up with $5,000 repair bill for cylinder head. If you guys found this video to be useful and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, because I think at 31.7, I mean, there are people who don't do anything on YouTube except vlog their own crappy, stupid lives in their apartments in New York or whatever that have 2 million subscribers. Please show YouTube that this is a useful channel. Second, by subscribing. Second of all, if you have anything to add to the conversation, comment below. And if you're a Patreon supporter, thank you so much. And like and share this video, especially if you have a friend with a Mercedes that is running hot all the time. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.